The story of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles began with a single act of violence, igniting a cycle of revenge that spiraled out of control. This endless blood feud grew so fierce that it engulfed an entire city, turning innocent bystanders into collateral damage. But while we often see this story through the eyes of the Turtles or the citizens of New York, there is another perspective worth exploring. One that delves into the lives of those on the other side, the Foot Clan, and the impact this conflict has on their loved ones. Today, we'll take a closer look at a tale of the TMNT titled Temps. This 2008 story, published in Tales of the TMNT, Volume 2, Issue 46, unfolds during the tumultuous events of City at War, right after April's return from her journey of self-discovery on the West Coast. Amid this chaos, the Turtles have returned to New York, seeking to undo the citywide conflict they inadvertently sparked by killing the Shredder. A conflict that has fractured the Foot Clan into warring factions, each battling for dominance in a city on the brink. One day, April stopped by her favorite coffee shop, where she was served by Tommy, a young man who was also looking after his younger brother Jiro. Jiro, already familiar with April, was eager to share that his brother had been teaching him how to play the guitar. As Tommy served April her coffee, he gently hurried Jiro to get to school, encouraging him to make him and their mom proud. April and Tommy exchanged a few words. She inquired about his mother, who had been struggling since the death of Tommy's father in a gang-related fight. Tommy then surprised her by mentioning that it was his last day working at the coffee shop. He had received a better offer and was about to start a new career. Later, when Tommy returned home, his mother was hopeful that he had reconsidered his decision to undergo an initiation ritual with the Foot Clan. However, Tommy was only there to retrieve his father's gear. His mother tried to dissuade him, reminding him that his father wouldn't have wanted this life for him. But to Tommy, it was a family tradition, something he had trained for his entire life. His mother pleaded with him not to throw his life away, expressing that she couldn't bear losing him as well. Tommy lightened the mood with a joke, saying she was probably the only mom in the world who would rather see her son become a rock star. Before leaving the house, Jiro asked Tommy what he was doing, and he told him that he was about to have his initiation, just like their dad. Jiro expressed that he also wanted to be like their dad. Tommy sent Jiro to bed and promised to tell him all about it the following morning. Meanwhile, the Turtles were preparing for a reconnaissance mission, with Raphael growing increasingly impatient and snarky toward Leonardo. But little did they know, they were walking into a trap. When Tommy arrived at the initiation site, he discovered that his task was to ambush the Turtles. But of course, this wasn't anything anyone could have expected. Facing Raphael, Tommy was left paralyzed with fear because he did not understand what he was looking at. The other ninjas were already engaged with Raphael and called for Tommy's help. Driven by the desire to honor his family, Tommy charged at Raphael. However, in the time it took Tommy to reach him, Raphael had already overpowered the other ninjas. Tommy tried to attack, but Raphael quickly countered, stabbing him with his sai. With the number of foot ninjas growing, the Turtles were forced to retreat. Back on the rooftop, the remaining rookies gathered around Tommy's lifeless body. He was their only casualty, which wasn't that bad considering the nature of the missions. One of the experienced ninjas reminded them that this was the enemy they were fighting against and urged them to remember Tommy's death, using it as fuel for their own vengeance in the name of the Foot Clan. Later that evening, the quiet of Tommy's mother's apartment was broken by a knock at the door. She opened it to find two foot ninjas standing in the hallway, holding a large dark body bag. They told her that Tommy had died with honor, just like his father before him, and that she should be proud. Confused, or perhaps in denial, Tommy's mother unzipped the body bag and found her son's lifeless body. Seeing him in the clothes he left the house with finally made her face reality. She had lost another loved one to this conflict. She then burst into tears. Jiro tried to make his mom feel better, so he promised her that she didn't need to worry about this. He would find the person who had done this to Tomi and make them pay. From the first page, with AC/DC's If You Want Blood, You've Got It playing on the radio, the tone of this story is set. It's a world where violence, betrayal, and survival are the norm. A world where humanity seems lost in the bloodshed. The song is a fitting backdrop, highlighting the brutality of the cycle of revenge that has gripped both the Turtles and the Foot Clan. The conversation between April and Tomi on page 5 is particularly poignant. Both lament the loss caused by the ongoing violence, unaware that they represent opposite sides of the conflict. The irony is thick. Either of them has the power to break the cycle, but neither does, thinking it is all beyond their control. This story is a rare glimpse into the life of a foot ninja, humanizing the often faceless enemies of the Turtles. Tomi's story is tragic, and while it's clear that his fate was sealed from the moment he chose to follow in his father's footsteps, it's hard not to feel sympathy for him. The narrative does an excellent job of making us empathize with Tomi, even more so as we watch Raphael ready to spill the enemy's blood from the very first panel he appears on. The theme of vengeance is central to the TMNT mythos, particularly through the City at War arc. However, in Temps, we see that vengeance is not the only motivation to fight for the cause. Tradition also plays an important role. Given the context of when this story was published in mid-2008, it's possible to see parallels between Tomi's story and the real-world events of the time. The ongoing wars had led to widespread anti-war sentiment, and it was one of the many election campaign topics of that year. Temps might reflect a commentary on the cost of war, tradition, and the pressures placed on young people to serve in conflicts that could sometimes be beyond their understanding. When Tomi's mother receives the visit from the two foot ninjas bringing the news of her son's death, it's hard not to draw a parallel to the mothers who receive similar visits from military officers, delivering the heartbreaking news that their children have died in service. Just like those mothers, Tomi's mom is told that her son died with honor. But honor is cold comfort when faced with the reality of a loved one's loss. The weight of tradition and duty, while noble, often leads to tragedy for those left behind. However, it's important to consider this as one possible interpretation of the story, influenced by the broader cultural and political environment of the time. The themes in Temps can resonate on multiple levels, making it a powerful and thought-provoking narrative. Tomi's death isn't just a personal tragedy, it's a commentary on the futility of revenge. It shows how tradition can be weaponized, leading young men like Tomi to their deaths for a cause they barely understand. And in the end, it raises a powerful question. Can you look at foot ninjas in the same way after this? What if they have families waiting for them at home? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the sewers.